grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, the flock. First of all, you members of the little flock, I want you to know that you are loved fervently. I'm going to describe something to you today that no one, once they hear it, can deny that it is love. You hear that? Once you hear what I'm about to tell you, you will know that I'm describing love to you. Well, what I'm actually describing to you is how the Father feels for you. Undeniable love that He has for you. So you take a man who has a child, and any man who's listening to this that's a father will understand exactly what I mean. You learn something about yourself when you have that child, don't you? You learn that you will sacrifice yourself for that child. And this doesn't mean that you will die for that child, even though if it comes to that, you're willing to. It's more so subtle things that you do for this child. If your family doesn't have much for dinner that night, there's just a little bit, that man will sacrifice his empty stomach for that child. In other words, he'll feed that child to the full first before he eats. And if that leaves him nothing, he's okay with that, as long as his child is fed. Now that act right there, because remember, we do not love in word and in tongue. So that's why I didn't start this message by saying I love you, even though I do, little flock, fervently love you. It's saying that you are loved. You understand? And then showing you by what has been done for you that you're loved. And in this case, a man on this earth is not greater than Abba in heaven, but yet he will sacrifice himself for his own child to make sure that his child has the things that it needs and requires. His motivation for laboring increases. When it was just him, he worked, and maybe he worked a job that he didn't like. But once he has that child, he learns to like the job a little more. In other words, he can tolerate the job easier because of what he's able to do for his child. Not himself, but for his child. Because remember, we're not talking about the world. We're talking about love today. Any father who loves their child understands what I'm saying, because that's what you do, correct? Or that's what you have done already. I know I have. I take no thought for my own stomach, and will it be filled? I don't take thought of that, but I take thought of my child's belly. You understand that, little flock? So it is with the Father in heaven. He doesn't need to take thought of his own belly, does he? Because he's a spirit. But he knows you have a belly. So he has compassion on you, and he knows what you need before you ask him. Just like I know when my son is hungry before he asks me for anything. You see that there? So the reason that I make these sacrifices are deeds to prove that I love. Because a lot of people say they love, but they fill their bellies and leave their child's belly empty. You see what I'm saying? They're selfish-minded. And then they say, well, if I didn't take care of myself, then how could I take care of anybody else? Well, then do you say you follow Yahusha? Because if you do, then you need to think about what he said about your life and how you should treat it and what you should do. Because Yahusha's The little flock belong to Yahusha. They're his. So then if they're his, then how do you think he feels for them? He told you how he did. I gave my life for you. I give my life for my friends. That is the greatest deed of love. Self-sacrifice. What more can you do to show somebody that you love them? Obviously, nothing greater. So then if he told us to do likewise, which is exactly what he said, little flock, do as you have seen me do. Let's put it that way. Love each other as I have loved you. He made sure to add that part onto it. Well, how did you love me? Like a father loves his son, because I and the Father are one. And how does a father love his son? I told you how. See? He sacrificed himself for him. He'll give his life for him if need be. He'll lay his life down. So did Yahushua do that? So then he proved it. You see that there? So it's not about I take care of myself, then I can take care of somebody else. No, it's taking no thought for your life. That frees you to be able to take care of somebody else, doesn't it? Now, why are you not taking thought of your life? Watch this, little flock. Why did you stop taking care of your life? Why did you stop taking thought of it, worrying about it, stressing about it, thinking about what you'll eat, what you'll wear, what you'll be clothed with? Why did you stop? Because when you saw yourself as that father and what you were willing to do for your son, then you understood how the Father felt for you. You see that there? You say, wait a minute. Wait a minute. My son doesn't get up and go to work, but yet he eats every day. He doesn't go get a job, but yet he's clothed every day. He doesn't get up stressing to me, coming to my bed saying, Daddy, are we ever going to have any food? What's going on? He just knows that I'll feed him. Daddy, I want some this. Daddy, I want some that. You know that's how you talk. How you doing? All right. You know that. So once you see that, then you start to understand the Father's relationship with you. You start to say, wait a minute. If I don't have to take a care when I'm a child because my Father provides all my needs for me, what makes me think my Heavenly Father won't do that? Is my earthly father better than my Heavenly Father? See, despite all the differences that a son has with his father, if his father loved him, the son will respect him, because love garners reverence. That's why you see with the husband and the wife, what does it say? Husbands, see that you love your wife. Wife, see that you reverence your husband. So all men want reverence from their woman. Why do you think there's all this MGTOW, all this stoicism and men going their own way and passport bros? And why do you think that's the case? Because they're looking to be revered by the woman, to be reverenced. Well, you only get reverence if you love. The problem is you're not loving her. So she's not reverencing you, but then you're going, oh, it's her fault. No, the man is the head of the woman. How could it be her fault that she's gone astray? That's right. You start loving, she'll start reverencing. You see that? Because that's what love garners. Reverence and respect. Deep respect. So it is with the son and the father. And one of the things that I told my earthly father before I left the house was, thank you. I want to thank you. And he's like, I'm your dad. That was his answer. I'm your dad. Like, as if to say, like, what was I supposed to do? I said, no, I need to say this. Thank you for providing a place for me to do the things that I love to do without stressing over bills, without stressing over paying for this and paying for that and how I'm going to eat this and how I'm going to eat that. And I was free to play my keyboard in my room all day long and write songs and grow as a young boy free because of the work and labor that you did for me. And his answer was, I'm your father. You see that? But that's it. I wasn't thinking about bills. I wasn't thinking about if I was going to eat that day. I don't know how the food got in the refrigerator when I was a little baby. I don't know. I just went, ah! And an orange got put in there. That's pretty good. Ah! A banana got thrown in there. That ain't half bad. Mama, what else you got? Ah! You understand what I'm saying to you, little flock? You understand what I'm saying to you? So I didn't see it get bought. I didn't see it get brought into the house, yet it was there. Well, that's how you need to live, little flock. It's time we start living like we're the little flock. The little flock is greatly cared for because we have a good shepherd. Well, if we have a good shepherd, let's reverence him for loving us. Let's deeply respect him. Now, when a man wants a woman that he says deeply respects or reverences him, what does he really mean? A woman that listens to him and keeps his word. That's actually what the man wants from his woman. Well, what do you think Christ wants from his bride? Clickety click like Legos, doesn't it? What do you think Christ wants from his bride? Her complete and utter reverence. So when she starts to listen to other people, we call that adulteress. See that there? So it is with the wife who listens to somebody else other than her husband. They got some money and they're like, they're trying to buy a house together, this couple. And they got the money in their savings. It's a joint account, so they both have access to it. But they got the money in there. Well, they're looking at a house. The husband and wife haven't decided on the house. They're kind of on the fence. So the husband says, well, we'll talk about it again another day, and then we'll decide it later. So they go on their day. Well, in the midst of them going on their day, the wife says, the hell with that. I want that house. She goes and talks to some other man, an advisor or some type of realtor, and brokers out some deal and buys the house behind the husband's back. He's not going to be happy. And he damn sure not going to be happy when he find out who gave her the advice. You see what I'm trying to say, little flock? Because he wants her to reverence him by keeping his word. Didn't I say we would talk about this later and come back and decide another time? Yes. So why did you go and talk to that person? Same thing Yahusha feels. It's no different. You see that there? You see that there? Remember, people take words and they try to make them like they're completely negative. To the pure, all things are pure. So there is a form of jealousy that is pure. Which means it's honest. Do y'all understand what pure means? It's honest. It's not out of any type of premeditation. It's a natural response to betrayal. You see what I'm saying? Jealousy is. And so Paul calls it godly jealousy. He says, I'm jealous for the little flock. And so am I, little flock. I'm jealous over you. Why do you think I talk the way that I talk? A lot of times the little flock misunderstands as though I'm talking to them. When I'm speaking harsh words or cutting language, I'm talking to those who have mistreated you. I'm speaking to things that have misled you. And I hate that what it has done to you. So when I speak, it's clear how much I hate it. It's pure. It's honest. I'm not trying to fake it before men and put the perfect words. I fucking hate that. But I'm going to say it like this. You know, I really despise that thing. Well, what I speak in my heart, I might as well say it openly because God heard my heart. So let me just speak openly. You see that? So that I can be honest and pure-hearted. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just know it's true. That's all I know. Don't kids do that? You tell your kid something. The mother tells the child something that he really shouldn't know, but she tells him something, and then they go out in public, and the son goes out there and starts telling everybody, yeah, my mom did this last night. She's like, I didn't tell that for you to tell other people. See what I just described there to you? You see what I just described? Because a child is pure. He spoke the truth. It may not have been good to her. See? But he spoke it, and it was a great offense to her that he spoke it. But it was true. So he spoke it. Become a child again and be pure-hearted. You see? Now, I was talking to a child the other day. He just turned 11 today, matter of fact. Today is his birthday. 10 years old, just turned 11. But when we had this conversation, he was 10. His name is Beloved. David, that is. And I was talking to this child. And he said to me, "Why do you carry that staff? And what does it say on it?" And so we began our conversation by talking about the staff. Now, it was interesting to me when he asked me that, because Abba describes a staff like the one I carry in the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel. And he also said, when people ask you about it, to tell them this. So I was on the spot. He asked me about it, and I told him that. And we started to talk. And as I started to listen to the things that he was asking me, I thought to myself, this is just pure. He's asking from just such a pure place. Why? And why that? And why does it say that? And this and that. That's how we all should be. We don't know. See? That's why you say why. But adults like to think that they're intelligent. And they like to think that they know. But Abba says, my people are destroyed for lack of that ingredient. They don't know. That's why they're destroyed. But they think they do. Because they think themselves wise. And when you think yourself to be wise, then you become unwise. Because I am as wise. And that's all there is. And once you come in alignment, then you would be wise. But if you stay out of alignment with the truth of the Father, then guess what happens to you? You die. You see that? So you let Abba tell you. You let your father treat you just like you treat your son when you love him. So what do you see other things that you do for your son? Since we're proving love here. You're patient with him. When he does things to get on your nerves, because he will. Because we got on our father's nerves. He said it. Damn, y'all hard-headed. Y'all are rebellious. Can you see a father standing around his 12 children and he's like, y'all some bad children. Damn. Y'all hard-headed as hell. Y'all not doing nothing I tell you to do. Because that's what Abba said to us. So we know that our sons may sometimes tick us off. But we also see something with the Father that we also see that we strive to be with our son, which is patient, long-suffering, kind, thinking not your own, not puffed up and prideful before your son, but you're humble. You bear all things with your son, whether it be an infirmity, whether it be an handicapped, whether it be a shortcoming or a fault. You bear it all for your son. So here we go with you. Now we're sitting here about to get tears all up in our eyes, welling up, thinking about how beautiful it is when a father loves his son, a man. And yet we fail to think that the Father isn't more beautiful in his love toward us. And he is. So if you consider what you do for your son, which is you'll forgive him, you'll overlook, you'll wink at his ignorance, you'll fight for him till the end. You see? Then so it is with your Father, even more so. And that should really embolden you and strengthen you as a child. Wow. So I don't have to think about groceries and where they're going to come from. And well, you didn't when you were a child, and he told you to become a child again and desire the sincere milk of the word. Then you'll grow thereby. Because though you had many groceries in your refrigerator and in your cupboard, you didn't have many groceries stacked up in your heart. So you had nothing to eat in there. Well, when you get translated and reborn, now your heart is filled with groceries to eat. Though your cupboards may be a little dry, though your refrigerator may be a little empty, like I've shown you guys on my own video. While I'm giving this word, the cupboard and the refrigerators are empty in the place that I was living at the time. but my heart was full. See how I'm describing it to you? Isn't it clear to see? If my heart wasn't full, then my mouth wouldn't move. Because guess what? Out of the what of the heart? It doesn't say out of an empty heart, the mouth speaks. Out of a little bit up in that heart, the mouth speaks. Out of a few droplets in that heart, the mouth speaks. That ain't what it says. It says out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. So when the grandson of right thought mouth is speaking, which is very often, you guys see my mouth moving like it is right now. When y'all see my mouth moving, what's coming out of it? I'm not going to tell you what's coming out. You can put in the comments what's coming out. You can just tell what your opinion is. Doesn't matter if you have a good opinion or a bad one. Put it in the comments. When the grandson of right thought mouth moves, what comes out of it? Now your answer to that question proves what my heart is filled up with, doesn't it? Because the word can't lie. If it did, Abba wouldn't have told you to desire it sincerely, to fervently want it. What do I mean? The baby, when the mother's holding the baby goes, ah, and the baby will do that. It doesn't matter if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. The baby will do that until that mother's breast goes into that baby's mouth. And that baby goes, and then you can go back and get you some more sleep. Because he's satisfied. He's full. And when he gets hungry again, he's going to do what? That he may grow. And you see him grow thereby too. See? Fatherhood is a blessing to a man. It is a great blessing to a man because it teaches him the father's standpoint with him. Now he's in the standpoint of the father. You see? And then he starts to understand, because all fathers that are listening to me know this. When you spoke harshly to your son, maybe he was bothering you and you were busy and you were like, what? Or you did something sharp, or maybe you grabbed his arm a little too hard, too taut when you grabbed him, or anything. You knew within yourself to chill out. Don't do that. Be tender towards your son. You know it in your own damn heart. You were disappointed in yourself for falling short. You know it. Well, that falling short means that there's a better father. That better father is yours. So then he don't react like that. He's patient. He's kind. He's long-suffering. What is love? What is the definition of love? I'm giving it to you. Kind, long-suffering, patient, vaunteth not up itself, as I have said, seeketh not his own, as I have said. I'm just giving you guys the definition of love so that you won't be tricked anymore. See how I prove that I love you? That's proving that I love you. Protecting you proves it. How does a father prove that he loves his son? By protecting him. By not letting him be deceived, tricked, led astray by anybody. And he even tells his son that as his son grows and be able to understand. The father says, hey, now do you see why I told you not to go? Yes, the boat capsized and they damn near all died out there. See why I told you don't go? I see, Father, you were just protecting me. I thought you were trying to stop me from living. I thought you were trying to stop me from having some fun. That proved that I didn't think you loved me. Oh! Can you hear that little flap right there? That proved you doubt God's love for you. You don't want me to have fun. That means he doesn't love you. He wants you to have real fun. Not fake fun. That you don't even remember because you were so inebriated and drunk from the night before that you him stumbling in at some weird hour of the night, falling in, passing out, throwing up. And you said that's fun. When all your dad is looking at is to throw up all over your chin and having pity on you for your ignorance and your not knowing. that he was once the little boy with the throw up on his chin. That's why he doesn't want it for you. See why you didn't reverence his love for you? But then after you see it, you say, I see it, Dad. I understand the whoopings. I understand the keeping me on the straight and the narrow. And I'm thankful for it. Because your rod and your staff comforted me during my childhood, Dad. It comforted me. I was blessed. When I had my first breakup, and I thought my heart was broken in a million pieces, I was blessed to be able to just go home and knock on my dad's bedroom door. And him to stop what he was doing. Because it didn't matter, because his son had tears coming down his cheeks over some girl. But my dad stopped what he was doing and he came down into my room and he sat with me and he had compassion on me. And he explained it to me. And he helped me to understand what was happening. And later on in life, when I thought, oh man, my heart broke again. Now I got married, now this woman divorced me. Oh my gosh, my heart is broken in a million pieces. And I sat there for weeks, not bathing, not doing anything, but sitting in a room stinking. Very depressed and sad. And in this case, I talked to my mother one day. Now I just want to show you guys something about what you think unclean language is. My mother said something to me that day as I sat there in that broken state, that pulled me out of that broken state. It jolted me to action and to stand back up in who I am, despite what the circumstances have tried to make it look like. She said a very simple thing to me, and one of those things was what you guys would call a cuss word, but it worked for me, and my mother just didn't do that. She didn't talk to me that way. So it was very strange that she used the words she did when she did. And the word was, fucker. Now, before she said that, I had been telling her, Mom, this is happening and she's doing this, she's smear campaigning, she's lying here, she's lying there, she's lying there, she's lying there. My mother said, you know what, son? Fuck her. That's all she said, guys. But I needed to hear it like that from her. I don't know why. I needed to hear her say it like that because it did something good in me. Even though the world says it wouldn't, but I am a living testimony that it did. It emboldened me. It made me confident again. It strengthened me to say, take your eye off that woman. That's what I was hearing my mother say to me. You're too focused on her. You're forgetting about you. You think that the man you are is no longer beautiful? You think the man that you are is no longer effective? You think the man that you are is no longer strong? Because of what this woman is doing to you? Or you are who you are? So fuck her. You're right. And I got on my grizzy as I'm doing this day. Thank you, Mama. And thank you, Father. Earthly Father, that is. That's the commandment right there, little flock, to honor your father and your mother. Thank them for the things that they did for you. Because you're only mad because you're ignorant. You're only mad because of your own hard heart. Why did Abba say people divorce? The hardness of your own hearts. I would not have it be so. So anybody saying God told me to divorce you, not telling the truth. God hates divorce. He rejects the notion. So then how can you say that he's for it when it was not so from the beginning? But Moses gave you grace to write a bill of divorcement because of the hardness of your own hearts and only for fornication's sake. You hear that today, little flock? So Abba's all about the family. He's all about the home and the happiness in it. You see that? Truly a happy home, not the world's version. What did Christ say? My comfort I leave you, not as the world giveth. Isn't that interesting how he says that? And the same with this. Not that false image that the world is giving you, where you have a happy wife, happy life. So the man slaves all day to make a happy wife, and then he end up like the grandson did before he was the grandson, sitting there stinking with his head hanging down, all effed up. You see? Oh man, I was about to say something crazy, but I ain't gonna say it. I'll save that for another time, possibly. But do y'all hear this message today? Y'all hear it? Become a child in the presence of your Father again. So then, what does that mean? What if you just took 20 minutes today to go into that state that I'm describing to you? Christ told you to go there, so don't think it's strange that I tell you to do the same. I told you guys, I'm only here to confirm the law that Yahusha gave. That's it, because there isn't a greater one. I can't come out now and give y'all something greater to do than what Yahusha said. What he said was sufficient. Sufficiently sufficient. It was sufficient, y'all. It did the job. So then I'm just here to reaffirm that to you. Hey, why are you listening to them? Other so-called daddies, or as he said, lords, gods. Why are you listening to them? There ain't but one daddy. We know his voice. That ain't him talking over there. If we hear lies coming out, he doesn't speak guile. So we know it ain't you. The ones that got the guile in their mouth. Yeah, man, but you got this in your mouth. But you don't even know how to talk right. But you're not even using eloquent words, man. But you're speaking that nigger talk, man. You're speaking that gutter talk, man. That ghetto shit. Yeah, well, does it stop the Ruach Kodesh? Nope. What about you? Where's your Uzi? Sound like your clip is empty. I don't hear no rock coming out of you, but when you talk to me, what do you hear? Full clip. Every time. With great aim. That hits with great accuracy. Because I let Abba aim. I don't aim a damn thing. I let Abba aim it. What do I mean, let him aim it? The words that I say. What do you want me to say? Say this because it's going to work in that circumstance. I don't go, I used to, but I don't go, but Abba, that sounds like this. He goes, I don't judge by the sound. You're right, Abba. Says right there in your word that you don't. So who am I to kick against the pricks and keep thinking that it does? He's like, you're only thinking that because some other daddy said that shit. To put you into bondage, to make you think you were bad. You were never bad if you were my child. Isn't that true? You just thought you were. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. So you were convinced that you were bad by some deceiver that tricked you. Look in the beginning with Adam and Eve. I was beguiled. In order to be beguiled, somebody got to talk to you with guile in their mouth. So if you come to me and you got guile in your mouth, I'm going to treat you like a street fighter. Because that's the only guile I know. I'm going to treat you like a street fighter, and I'm going to ride you uppercut your shit like Hadouken. All right? Hear that today, little flock? Nigga got guile. Okay, I know how to handle guile. I'm going to E-Honda his ass with the word of God. They're like, what your grandson talking about? Street Fighter. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know Street Fighter, then you know what I'm talking about. You're going to treat him like Street Fighter. You come over here with some guile. Because the guy that I follow don't have none of that. So I don't get beguiled when he talk. Because he doesn't want me to be. Because he loves me. What kind of father wants to trick his son? One that don't love him. La 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 la. It's so easy to see. It's so easy to see. People out here, yes, I need to find God. You need to find God? Well, he's invisible. So how do you plan on finding him? He's invisible. So how do you plan on finding him? Because when I read the scripture, it reads like this. This is my son, who once was lost, but now he's found. And when I continue to read, he says, you have not chosen me, but I have chosen you out of the world to go and bear a whole lot of fruit. See? So I'm a fruitful branch. Read the Bible.
read the Bible. Human beings have to stay away from me, or they will be converted. Because they can't battle the truth. The truth is here. It doesn't waver. It doesn't go anywhere. I don't allow it to. You see? Once you know who you are, you know your job. Isn't it? I mean, it's not really strange, is it? When I say that. Once you know who you are, you know your job. You know what's expected of you. You know what you're supposed to do. And so you do it. Now, someone else who doesn't have your occupation or your job, or may not be what you are, may not understand a damn thing. He may not understand nothing that blacksmith is doing. But the blacksmith is a master at his craft. You see that today? The blacksmith is a master at his craft. So he's able to do things that other guy can't do, who may be a carpenter. But they're both great at their own jobs. But they had to know who they were and what they loved. See that there? So, little flock, I would advise you all, become children again. You see that today? Rest in your Father's bosom. Take no thought. Stop stressing. Stop being heavy laden. And cast all the cares of your life upon your shepherd. Because that's what sheep do. They hear go, oh! They have learned. See, the early sheep, they have not yet learned what that means. You see? So they get afraid. They hear that sound. They're like, what is that? What is that? Then they see the wolf and they go, oh my gosh, he's going to get us. Okay, I refer you to the men on the boat like I always do. We're going to die. We're going to die. Peace, be still, calm. Now, the sheep that's laying there calm, why is he calm when the wolf went, oh? Because he knows what it means. It means his shepherd is about to bonk. You hear me today, little flock? You hear what I'm saying to you? It doesn't mean anything other than that to him. The sheep hear some snarling coming out of the bush. He's asleep. My shepherd is getting ready to bonk and chase. Because he loves me. Just like the child feels when he's in his bassinet and he's laying there in a house and a thief breaks in and the father happened to be home. The child doesn't even know the threat. There's glass breaking, niggas is grunting and fighting. He doesn't even know that it's a threat. The baby don't. Daddy down there bonking him. See what I'm telling to you? And the only way he knows is he has to grow up and be told what happened. He don't even know it. Well, that's just like the sheep that trust the shepherd. He ain't worried about that wolf. He ain't worried about that lion. Because the shepherd gonna come a-bonking. That's all it means when that the nigga snarl. He feels bad for the lion. He's like, why'd you come over here messing with this particular flock? This Yahusha's. You don't know that his staff and his rod comfort me? Watch how they're about to comfort me from this threat that's coming. Bonk. He got stars and birds going around his head. He got stars and birds going around your head, don't ya? With a big ass knot coming up on that thing with a red glow coming off of it. Ding, ding, ding. Yep, that's what happens when you come think you're going to snatch me. I don't know why you think you can. I told you when you know who you are, you know what to do. What did I say? He says, touch not mine anointed. Do you know you're anointed? What proves that you are? The word. The power that's in it. So the question is, does the word the person speak save? Then you know whose word it is. Then you know whose word it is. You hear that little flock? Man, I listened to this person. It saved me. That's right. That's right. Just like the sincere milk saves that baby from starvation, it'll save you too if you become a child again. Now, one last thing before we end this message. When you become a child again, your mother gonna nurse you. Okay? Like we just heard. You're gonna grow thereby. And then when you grow thereby, you're going to understand that, wait a minute, I got from 0 to whatever age you start to understand that, maybe 14, 15, 13, 12, whatever. But you understand, I just got here not under my own power at all. I've been provided for to get to the stage where I'm at. You understand what I'm saying? You start to now know you're being taken care of, in other words. And then you start to learn, oh, the groceries were bought with money that my parents earned at work. Oh, you see what I'm trying to explain to you? You start to understand what was going on around you. Wait a minute. I wanted those new pair of Jordans. My mother said she worked overtime to get them for me. I didn't know what that meant back then. But now that I got my own little job, that means she worked 8 more hours of that hard-ass labor she does just to get me a pair of shoes that I desired? Wow, it's not even about the shoes. It's about the sacrifice you made. Ask David about the water that his men gave him. He poured the water out and said, it's not even about the water. It's about the sacrifice that you men made for me. Whew. I'm not worthy of a sacrifice of that amount. And that's how you should feel for those who loved you and sacrificed for you. You see? But truthfully, the humility in you will cause you to speak that way. But in actuality, you were always going to be because you were theirs. So it is with the Father. In other words, you were always going to be loved because you're His. Everything that He does is love. I'm a witness to it, guys. Being of the people that were made slaves. I told you guys this. Now coming to the knowledge of who I am and the love that God always had for me. So I didn't lose it just because my ancestors went into slavery. It was a lesson. It was a lesson so that I could be the man that I am today. Break all of the prior curses of the bloodline that I carry. See that today? Bloodline redemption, y'all. That's what it's always about. I will yet choose Israel. So let your Father love you today and reverence Him for His love. Silouan Misraela.